and welcome back to my channel. It's Leah. You can call me Bia. In my yap with me, I mentioned that I wanted to talk about my mental health, and I figured there's no better time than National Suicide Prevention Month, as that's something that I've struggled with, and I want to be transparent because I feel like my story could help other people or give someone, at least one person, hope that there is a solution, there is a bright side, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, there's hope. There can come an end to those thoughts and those feelings, because it happened to me. So, here's my story. I guess, to keep it brief, we can take it back to 7th grade. Since 7th grade, I've had on and off depressive symptoms. This dog. Astro, out. Yeah, I've had depressive symptoms on and off, which have included just agitation, isolation, inability to get out of bed, sleeping a lot, lots of naps, and just losing interest in everything that I used to love. That's really what I struggled with, or my major symptoms for a really long time. So that started in 7th grade. 7th grade is the first time that I hurt myself. And that was after a really bad night with my mom. We had gotten into it, and he's so dirty. As close as we used to be, that really used to impact me. If we didn't get along or if we had a bad fight, I used to really take that to heart and would take it really personally and would let it impact my mood and how I saw myself, my self-esteem. But yeah, it started in 7th grade. I started therapy in 8th grade. Started pretty consistently or confidently, best way to put it, hurting myself in 9th grade. Was good into 10th grade. Really depressed in junior year of high school. My 11th grade, that's when I struggled a lot in school. I had stopped going to class, and I was sitting in my guidance counselor's office all day, every day. I'd stay home from school, tell my mom, I can't do it. I'd call her in the middle of the day and tell her, can't do it. I would just sit and ruminate. Is that the word? And would just think about all the negative things that I thought about myself. And I'd just be miserable, honestly. I'd only be at school, so I didn't fail. I actually, somehow, some way, passed junior year with really good grades. I don't know how, but I wouldn't go to class, like I said, and I ended up in this program that saved my life. I wasn't suicidal in high school, but it saved my life in that it changed me. It changed my outlook on life. For the time being, it gave me a sense of hope. I had people who cared about me. I had a therapist who cared about me. I felt loved, and like there are people who wanted me to be there. And, it was really nice. It was really helpful. I met other people who were going through the same thing as me, which at the time was new. One of my best friends, she was also going through a bout of depression, and we would talk about it. We would joke about it. She understood, my urges. She told me, what you have is definitely depression. You're not crazy for thinking this. You're not self-diagnosing yourself. You have the symptoms and you're unhappy. You probably do have depression. And that was the first person who really validated, something's wrong. And, that's okay. It's okay that, you're not just sad. It's okay that it's a medical diagnosis, and she made me feel seen. She's always made me feel seen. But yeah, So junior year was really hard. I was also in a really toxic relationship throughout high school, which factored into a lot of it. I experienced sexual assault in high school, which factored into a lot of it. So I was just a really unhappy person. I distanced myself from a lot of people in my life in high school. I didn't have a relationship with my older brother at all. To be honest, I thought that he was the cause of a lot of the feelings that I had, and a lot of the resentment that I held toward my childhood. I blamed him for it instead of looking at the bigger picture. So yeah, I blamed him a lot for how I felt often, which isn't fair because it wasn't his fault. It never has been, and it never will be. He told me that he was doing all he could and all he knew how and what he knew about what was going on and tried to help me, which was awesome. But I didn't see it because I was blinded by my mental health. And I'm sorry, this dog is drinking still water. I'd lost pretty close relationships. I was just unhappy. I wasn't going to class. People were asking questions. People would, tease me essentially. I had to quit playing sports. I quit basketball, and then I didn't make the volleyball team, which factored into my depression. I wasn't exercising. I really wasn't doing anything for myself. And then senior year was good until COVID hit. Then I had, quarantine depression, which was pretty common. And then in November of 2020 was the first time that I genuinely had suicidal thoughts, and I didn't know what to do. It was this one night that I was in this toxic relationship. He was at my house, and we were just hanging out. I was fine. I was in a neutral mood, and all of a sudden I looked at him and I was like, I want to break up with you. And it sounds great, I was in a toxic relationship. I finally reached this mindset where I'm like, yes, let's break up. But it wasn't that. It was actually the first time that I experienced a mental break, and saying things that I didn't mean because I didn't know what I wanted. But it was more than that. It was more so I couldn't identify where this was coming from, but I knew I have to break up with you. I have this urge. I want to be with you, and I don't want to leave you. But something inside me is and it's not, I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't a gut feeling, but now knowing that I have BPD, it makes sense that I just was saying things that I don't mean to get a rise out of him, to prove no, I like you, I want to be with you. But that wasn't the response that I got. I told him I don't want to be here anymore. I am feeling suicidal. I feel like I need to go to the hospital tonight. And after all that, he left, and that was the end of us. I went to the hospital with my mom. I didn't tell them that I had suicidal thoughts, so they sent me home. No outpatient, no inpatient, no medication, no therapy. I just went home and had to really think to myself, and that's when I started to get my shit together to some capacity. I learned a lot about spirituality, which honestly held me together for a really long time. Before I got into another bad relationship, I was really grounded. I learned a lot about myself. I started to love myself. I, started to find myself, which was helpful. I found a source of life. When people find church, I found spirituality. I just really trusted that, one day things will be okay. And that faith carried me for a really long time. Yeah, like I said, I got into this really unhealthy relationship in 2021. Not much time between these relationships. Yeah, judge me if you want, that's fine. But yeah, we got together in April of 2021, and he didn't believe in the spirituality shit. He thought it was witchy, and I listened. So I gave up what had ultimately turned my life around for this relationship. My mental health was pretty stable, But then, so we were together my sophomore year of college. My junior year, I had sophomore year, I started medication again, but I wasn't taking it seriously. I was like seeing a psychiatrist every once in a while. He was kind of helpful, but didn't really understand me. Gave me like antidepressants and anxiety medication, but wasn't really taking it. Didn't really take it seriously. And I had someone telling me, you need to do trauma therapy, and I was like, what? And they were like, well, your relationship with your mom. And I was like, what? And so I just ignored everything that people were telling me at this time. Senior year of college came. I went abroad, which was amazing. I felt great. Then I came back. God. And then I came back, and yeah, that's when shit got real. I came back in December of 2023, and that by January of 2024, my BPD symptoms had skyrocketed. My symptoms were really bad, and this was before I was diagnosed, before I was medicated. I wasn't taking antidepressants or anxiety medication that I've been prescribed in college, so I wasn't medicated. I got into my first relationship with a girl, my current girlfriend, in 2023, in October of 2023, and I came home in December, so we started actually being together and experiencing our relationship in December. And in January is when I just got really jealous, really obsessive. I was ruminating about every little thing that would happen in our relationship. I was hyper focused on her. I became codependent, all of the negative things that come with a relationship. It happened. I was making it toxic. A lot of what I was doing was contributing to making our relationship unhealthy. And this went on for months. So from January to May, I was consistently crashing out. I would come home from school every single weekend, spend the whole entire weekend with my girlfriend, crying, being mad at her, complaining. We would go out, I would drink, smoking all the time. I wasn't focused on school. I just didn't really care. I wasn't focused on school on the weekends when I was home. When I was at school, I was really locked in, though, because I needed that academic validation. But I also needed to graduate with good grades. That was my goal, so I was locked in. But yeah, when I came home, my reality hit, and I just wasn't doing well. And in May, I had expressed enough times to my girlfriend that I had suicidal thoughts, and that I just didn't want to be there, that I was tired, that I was over it. And she was worried. She had gotten to the point where she was like, you can't live like this. This isn't normal. This isn't healthy. This isn't fair. So I dialed 988 for the first time. I was scared. I was scared that they were going to come and find me. I was very paranoid. I was scared that I'd have to stay in the hospital, that I'd have to do inpatient treatment. I was just scared as to what was going to happen. I didn't feel ready to get help. I didn't know what would come of it. So I called, and I just expressed what was going on. My girlfriend told me it's probably best if you go to the hospital. She told my mom. We talked a little bit. I was at my girlfriend's school, and my mom came, picked me up, brought me to the hospital. We went. We sat there for a while. I talked to a psychologist, and they told me that they were going to send me to outpatient treatment, a partial program, which I wasn't too upset about. I was like, okay, I can do partial therapy, That doesn't sound too intimidating to me, so started that in April. did that for 6 weeks. No. 3 weeks? I think I did it for 3 weeks. And then I walked the stage for graduation. Graduated my program. And I felt really good. I was feeling really optimistic about my life and feeling like, okay, you know, I finished therapy. I have all these skills. I'm ready. And yeah, I was given a psychiatrist who I started medication. I started duloxetine, which is an antidepressant, which started to help. But I was still feeling like this cyclical, like, up and down, you know. So I started seeing a psychiatrist who prescribed me an antidepressant, which was helpful. But this whole, like, cyclical feeling that I was experiencing, I was like, I'm missing something. I was expressing, you know, I'm feeling this cyclical feeling. I'm feeling suicidal. I'm unhappy all the time. I have no interest in doing anything. And I was doing my research from, May on. I did research and I told my psychiatrist, I was like, hey, I think I have BPD. I have this up and down constantly. My mood is so unstable. I can't keep a relationship. All of this, it was a suicidality and, like, just feeling like that was the only solution to these minor inconveniences. Me and my girlfriend get in a fight, and I'm like, okay, well, I just have to kill myself. And, like, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's crazy to think that, like, that's a true solution that I thought was right. And just not wanting to be anywhere, not wanting to do anything, feeling like, this feeling that I've always had is, like, just wanting to go home. But, like, not to a house, but just to go home. Get out! But I was dealing with the constant suicidality and just questioning who I am, what I meant to be, what I'm supposed to be doing. It was just the constant feeling of, like, uncertainty and not belonging anywhere, not wanting, just hating myself, hating my life, and being so dissatisfied, just not being satisfied with anything around me. Always fighting with my girlfriend and being insecure, feeling a deep feeling of guilt all the time, and just feeling embarrassed, humiliated at myself and anything that I did, feeling like people were judging me all the time, and just feeling vulnerable all the time. I was really hurting. For a very long time, like all of 2024, I was hurting. From January to December, I was dealing with a lot. I was suicidal the whole year. And then, I don't know what the fuck the day was. I think it was the 27th of October. I broke. It was a Friday. I had got home from work. That whole week I knew I need to go to the hospital. I need to go back. I need to get help again. The whole week I was like, I just need to get through the work week. And I'd been crying at, like, nap time at the preschool I worked at, and just posting, like, all of these posts. I had been harming myself this whole time. And yeah, October 27th, I broke. Me and my girlfriend got into a fight, and that was enough for me to send me into a really dark place. I hurt myself in a way that I never had before, and to a degree that I had never imagined I would. And immediately I knew I need to go to the hospital for medical attention. And that was the first time. It was scary. And I can't say I regretted it, but I was home alone, and I was like, if I bleed enough and I pass out, nobody's gonna find me. And I got scared. And so I wrapped up my arm. I went in my car. And I started driving to the hospital. And I called my brother and I was like, Timmy, I did something. I'm feeling suicidal and I need help. So we met at a rest stop on the highway. We talked for hours. We just talked, reminisced, and just hung out. And he really grounded me. And then eventually we drove to the hospital. He went home. Christina met me there. We went inside. It hurt. I was hurting physically, mentally, emotionally. I was suffering. In all honesty, the quality of my life was so shit. I hated every day. I hated myself every day. I didn't feel like I deserved to be here. And so that night I thought that it was the right night to take action and to, solve the problem. I'm very grateful that I didn't go through with it. But I went to the hospital. My mom found out. At the time, I didn't want her there. I wanted my girlfriend, but I also felt like I hated her that night. But I needed her at the same time. So they both came and sat with me. And then the nurse told me, you're going to go do inpatient treatment. I was like, okay. 72-hour hold. I'll be okay. 3 days to get assessed, to get put on medication, to be given a therapist. I will be okay. I was wrong. I ended up in the mental hospital for 10 days. And for all 10 days, my girlfriend came to make sure I was okay. She drove an hour and a half total to spend, 30 minutes with me to just talk. And, I'd give her these little notes that I wrote her, and I would just tell her about how much I loved her and how much I appreciated her, and just tell her these stories from the ward, and tell her about the people, tell her about the food, and just all that. She was there for me every single day, and it's something I'll never forget. And it's something I can never thank her more for. My mom came to visit me, my brother came to visit me, and yeah, in those 10 days a lot happened. Weird men being in a, what do you call it? On my floor, it was the adult floor with men and women, so a lot of just weird shit happened. I feel like I was preyed upon. I was being groomed by this older man. I don't know if you can be groomed when you're an adult, but sorry, I feel like I'm dissociating. Just it was hard being there. I didn't feel safe all the time. had to befriend the nurses. 2 people I'll never forget were Yolanda and Izzy. Izzy, I felt like she was just my age. She went to my girlfriend's college. She was like a friend to me. She made me feel like I wasn't in the ward. And like I was normal. But Yolanda was like 50-year-old black woman who, on my last day, one of the patients was like taunting me and really, really pissing me off. And I knew this was my last day. I knew I was getting released. And she just looked at me and she was like, "You're going home. Don't let them get to you. Because they will keep you. If you go off, they will keep you for longer." And so she helped me keep my composure. And I kept looking at her like, "Yolanda, I'm gonna lose my shit." And she kept just looking at me like, "You're going home." Because she knew how bad I wanted to leave. Yeah. I was released 10 days later. Released a few days before my 23rd birthday. 2 antidepressants, an antipsychotic, and anxiety medication. Never once in my life, never once did I ever think that I'd be on a fucking antipsychotic and feel normal. So, that's my reality. Is that in order to prevent myself from having suicidal thoughts, I need to be on 2 antidepressants, anxiety medication, and an antipsychotic. That has been my lifesaver. I've honestly never felt more like myself or more confident in who I am. I'm able to foster a relationship with my friends. I'm able to be in a healthy, positive relationship with my girlfriend. I am aware of the relationships I have with other people. I know how I'm treating people. I am consciously treating people the way that I am. I'm making decisions based on that. I have moved out. I got a dog. I have quit a toxic job, got a new job. I started working out again, started taking care of myself. I never thought that I would be in such a good place. If you asked me last September, where are you going to be a year from now? I'd probably say dead. That's what I wanted. That's what I thought I deserved. But I realized there's so much more to life. That every day is such a blessing. That you get to love. Even if you don't feel loved, you get to love. Even if it's not yourself. Even if it's just something simple. It's like, I love how green the trees are today. That's a reason to stay, so you get to see how beautiful that is tomorrow. And it's just realizing that there's another opportunity to be better tomorrow. But it took me a year to get to this place. You know, when I was first medicated, I was still struggling a lot. I was still hurting myself. I was crying all the time. Still really depressed. And just recently, honestly, I took a handle on my own life. And I stopped letting the medication just be the only reason I was better. And I started to actually do things for myself that made me feel better. Like getting my hair done, getting my nails done, working out, getting outside, spending time with the people that I love, not putting all my eggs in one basket. But when I started working on myself is when I started to feel like the quality of my life has changed. Medication changed the quality of my life significantly. And I know not everyone is pro-medication, and I can confidently say that I will never go unmedicated again. I am a new person. I think that people around me see that and appreciate that the person that I once was is back, better than I ever have been. I just feel stronger now. I've gone through so much in these 23 years of my life and a lot of trauma. And I don't let that define me. And I know that sounds corny, it sounds cliche, but my trauma isn't the first thing I want you to notice about me. I don't want you to notice oh, she's so sad, or oh, she seems depressed, she seems unhappy, she seems like she lacks confidence. I want to walk into a room and everyone's jaw drops wow, she's confident, she has it going on. Even if I don't, I just want to always feel my best, and I know that that's not possible to always feel great. I just never want to feel suicidal again, and I don't find it helpful when people are like, oh, you're not alone, you can always come to me. It's helpful to be around people who understand you, to go to group therapy, and to be in a space where everyone's like, oh my god, wait, me too. That was the first time that I didn't feel alone. Not someone telling me you're not alone, there are people out there. No, it's face to face meeting those people and talking to those people, being in the hospital and having this gash on my arm, and for no one to be like, oh my god, do you see her? Because everyone understood. That's what changed me, is being in a space where people heard me and didn't judge me at all. You can't judge people for being in the mental hospital when you're in there too. And that's something that you learn. Nobody's better and nobody's worse. Anytime I talk about the mental hospital and the positives, I don't want to glorify it and make it seem like it's a great place to be. There's a lot of scary shit that happened to me there. But being there changed my life. And I've told people in my life, I never want to have to go there again. And if I do, I'm no longer scared. Because I know that the people there all want to see you leave. They all want to watch you come in and watch you go. Because once you go, it's such a thing to celebrate. Everyone's so happy for you. Being you did it. You completed your time here. You got better. But anyway, this is going to be a really long video. But I just felt the need to express my story and to just let people know that there are better days ahead. There really are. You just have to find a reason, even if it's small. For example, I have a special blanket, and as dumb as it is, I personify my special blanket. He'd miss me if I was gone. Who would care for him? And now I have a puppy. I don't want to leave my puppy and leave him confused. Where'd my mom go? My little brother. My big brother. I think. Honestly, I love my whole family. But I don't know if my older brother would recover. And I think that I downplay, and he downplays, how much he loves and cares about me, but I don't think he'd be okay if he lost me. That's enough. Like, I don't want to ever imagine my brothers at my funeral, you know? That's not an image I want in my head. I don't want them to, you know, read a note from me expressing, I loved you. I don't want my love for them to ever be past tense. Like, even if you don't feel loved, you always have the ability to love. And loving something is a reason to stay. So, if no one's told you today, I love you. And I get it. You deserve more. It's not fair what happened to you. And you're better than that. You don't have to be that person that hurt you. You can be better. You can be stronger. You can always come out on the other side. And I've learned that through so many trials and tribulations. But there's more to life than depression and misery. It can be hard to see and hard to understand, but the more you keep pushing, the more you keep going, the more of life you see, the more beauty you see, the more you'll understand that this world is so much bigger than you and I. I hope you found some hope from this video. Thank you for listening to me just talk about my mental health. I am very grateful to be alive, and I hope you are too. I love you. Until my next video.